if I'm thinking two steps down the road and I'm kind of like understanding the human nature of how we work and our desire for growing and a desire for a better tomorrow and the awesome things about capitalism, there are also some downsides. We're only measuring what we produce, but in a way that we never measure what's going on around us.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley, in partnership with Leumi Tech, sponsored by Hippo Insurance, Upwest Labs, Turing, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, and in media partnership with C-Tech. Today I learned that following your passion is not a momentary thing. It's not a current job. It's a philosophy. It's a way of life. It's something that you take on with many, many years of hard work, because if that really is your passion, you just can't do anything else. And today I met with Michael Malul, the CEO of Shareitt, and he pretty much embodies that exact idea. Michael swam for 20 years his life, holding a national swimming record for 18 years to this date, including Israel's Athlete of the Year of 2007 by Ma'ariv. He studied and swam for Georgia Institute of Technology in the States. Spent the last 11 years leading design and development of products using mobile technology for startups and Fortune 500 companies. He is the father of two amazing kids, married to Chen, and lives in Tel Aviv. Meet Michael. Michael Malul, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. How are you today?
I am very well. Good morning. How are you, Michael?
Good morning. I am fantastic. I'm speaking to the 2007 Israel Athlete of the Year. It is a pretty incredible honor. It's really amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome times in the 20 years of swimming career. Had a chance to spend travel of the world, compete, and one of those events were in 2007.
And so today you're the CEO of Shareitt. Previously you were the chief operating officer, a peer-to-peer marketplace for secondhand items. But before we dive into the tech world and all that boring stuff, I'm just kidding, of course. Because talking about 20 years of swimming career, it is so rare that I get to talk to somebody about that and hear about their experiences. And it goes back all the way to Kentucky, right? Tell me about that.
So yeah, actually, University of Kentucky was the first place I started college in. I looked for a great swimming team, and Kentucky was one of them. They were ranked high in the NCAAs, and I got a scholarship and flew over there. I didn't know so much about the U.S. I was expecting some bigger buildings, type of New York style, and I arrived, and the first thing you see is a horse running next to you. And huge places, farms, and I was looking for those big buildings for about a year. I never found them there, but I found some amazing place, amazing people. It is a completely different atmosphere, and I really enjoyed my time there. It was a huge learning curve from the beginning through the time I moved to Georgia Tech, and it was all pleasure.
And so Georgia Tech obviously is one of the most prestigious universities in the world. Especially if we're talking about high tech. What is it like being a student athlete swimming at a place like Georgia Tech?
Oh, both in tech and in Kentucky, being a student athlete is a busy schedule, busy but fulfilling. You wake up pretty much actually 4 days a week. You wake up at 5:15 a.m. You head out to practice. Actually, in Kentucky, it was even more amazing because when you wake up in the winter, you go out in like 12, 15 degrees Fahrenheit, which is minus 12 Celsius or so. And I took my bicycles and then I found all the black ice you could imagine and just skied over to the practice. So then when you get to practice, you get a chance to make it even better. And you jump into a cold pool. So just in case you haven't felt the entire thing,
in case you haven't been in hypothermia yet, you get a chance to now fully.
Exactly. But the funny thing is the motivation is so high to push as hard and to be as best as you can. You don't really think about it. You just take it for granted. And you keep on doing it again and again and again. And that was my life since I'm like 13. I didn't know anything else. I thought that's how it goes. And I couldn't miss a practice. You don't allow yourself to miss a practice. And You go on one step after another, and you get things done.
But it sounds like it's not just, a historical part of you as a swimmer, because you bike all the time. I believe you bike more than 90 or 98% of your commute in general.
Yes,
So it
yes,
sounds
absolutely.
like this
Actually,
is go ahead.
no, you're correct. Bicycles have something else that awesome about them. They avoid traffic. So using bicycles was was also it started from two aspects. The first one, I just really didn't want to be bounded to the traffic jams and to the fact that I go out and I never know when I'm coming in. So I started to bike, and in the beginning I was biking of 1 hour every direction, but I knew that when I left is where I got into. And over time, I actually found another advantage, which is really in my own mind and for myself, I did well with the environment, which made me feel better. And that's it. Since 2013, I've been spending pretty much all of my commute using bicycles. I do have a car. It is nicely looking in the parking spot. But beside that, it doesn't do anything much. But that's it.
I I think that I got so used to the habit of driving and getting being so dependent on Waze, and all of a sudden when I moved to the heart of Tel Aviv and I'm biking places, and I know exactly how long it's going to take me to get from place to place, and I get there and I feel good. I'm not stressed. I can breathe. I can plan accordingly, and I think that it's amazing. And I just wait for 10, 15 years down the line when that's just going to be the mainstream in whatever capacity. And both the swimming and the biking, so, the teamwork of the swimming and the biking, which is also a very much a collaborative nature type of activity I'm feeling. It's part, it's part of a larger idea that we do things, not just for us, but for the world and for others, brings me a little bit to Shareitt, because the mission there also feels a little bit in line with the way that you've been living yourself, with the brief that I got to know you already. Tell me a little bit about your entrance to the tech world, and now being the CEO of Shareitt.
So my interest to the tech world actually happened when I was about 6 or 7 or so. My dad gave me an old piece of equipment, and I was always looking to break them down and see what's inside and trying to bring it back together. I was extremely good in breaking it down and see what's inside, but on the bringing it together, I had some difficulties once in a while. So that was my first initiative with technologies. From that point on, I was always excited to see the first VCR. It's like I've been here for a moment. You realize when you're talking about VCRs, you realize you've been here for a moment or two in this planet. And from that point, the first digital camera. I was living in a boarding school in Wingate. Actually, since I was 16,
Oh, wow.
I left my house and joined a group of other swimmers, and we all lived together. And I had the first digital camera. It was unique. It was amazing, and it kept on going. I had cameras with me all over the place. I had the first laptop, and over time, I found myself starting to building websites. I'm gonna shut this down. Okay, I apologize. So,
It's part of the beauty that we're doing this remotely, that we, it's so weird that we get to now, I'm sort of in your house, you're in my house. It's really cool. Continue.
so I apologize. So I ended up spending time in trying to understand how to build websites, and then I wanted to understand how do you advertise in this tool called Google, and over time I kind of so I realized that when you build websites, you got to do something like called design in Photoshop, and one thing led to the other, and what you end up doing is every question really leads you into the next thing, and every time it opens up a bit more. So I guess that my engagement with technology always resulted from the core of I wanted to get to understand how that work, and really how that work is a set of many things that works together. So, and I kind of put myself as a hands-on person from the very beginning, and eventually led me to open a company. And the company was really providing software solutions. At the beginning, we were building technologies, myself and an amazing partner I had, Ares. and we actually started that in the States, in Atlanta. Small startups at the beginning, mobile technology at first. Already in 2011, we were fairly unique in our ability to design and develop mobile technologies. But over time, we ended up going out.
The iPhone was only 4 or 5 years old, I believe.
About 3 years old, really. 2008,
Wow.
if I remember correctly, was the first iPhone and the softwares, and really it got into kick. I had the privilege to work in Home Depot and get exposed to mobile technologies sooner than later. And I also worked with India a lot. Actually, that was my main capacities. The same thing, actually, I flew to India, opened an office there in Jaipur. It worked well, then it worked amazing. So flew there again. This time moved to Pune and opened another office. And using that over time, we kind of like explored. We started to give services. We grown up to we won some interesting bids and developed some interesting technologies of companies that have done exits, but also for Fortune 500 companies. We really put ourselves out there, and I think we got some people be happy and recommend us. But over time, as we have been successful and as we started to go out for companies and explore what's the user flow, do you think this is what you need? Let us take a look. Let us actually go outside, talk to people, which is really the only way to really know if you're developing a solution that fits the actual needs and not what you imagine. Our eyes, we learned fairly early on that our eyes are really a deceiving tool. They're problematic because we see what we see. And what we see is really not what we need to see. We need to see what they see. So we've done that, and we went outside, we explored. But there was another urge in me. I saw one time I actually took a trip to Florida. And in Florida, interestingly enough, I went out for a dive to look for coral reefs. But you know what I saw, Michael? Dead coral reefs. But then I asked myself, but wait, aren't we supposed to see coral reefs? I said, yes, those are the coral reefs. I said, but it doesn't look like it. I saw it in National Geographic, it looks more alive. I said, yeah, it didn't, last year it doesn't work well. So I went in and checked. What I saw was fairly sad. In the 1980s, they were alive. So what happened? So I went in and researched. And the same thing that happened to me in technologies happened when I tried to explore what happened to us in the planet as humans. What are we setting up ourselves for the next generations? What are my kids going to grow up into? I didn't have kids at that time, but I thought about it. I said, oh, that's actually, if I'm thinking 2 steps down the road and I'm kind of like understanding the human nature of how we work and our desire for growing and a desire for a better tomorrow and the awesome things about capitalism, there are also some downsides. We're only measuring what we produce, but in a way that we never measure what's going on around us. So exploitation, and then I understood the air situation around us, the water pollution that we create, the abusing of multiple things. And suddenly, what I realized, I see this awesome dog. You should meet mine also one day.
It's a carpet. It's not
What?
a real dog.
Okay. So when you swim, when you do personal sports, mostly, which are usually not involving getting a huge lump of money or being rich at the end of it, you coming directly from your heart. You have passions. You have a drive. I specifically, I had 14 practices every week for one main competition a year, which really, if I was like 20 hundredths of a second better, I was making a party as if I don't know what happened. But 20 hundredths of a second better meant potentially almost a European record, or being first versus eighth. So it all down to the wire. So you got to be super. You got to give it all in every single moment. And when I did contracting work, you have this passion, you learn, you get to know people, but eventually you get to a point where things have been done, you got a contract, you run through that, you do service, and all that happens is you do it again. It's interesting to see more companies, but the fire inside had good amount of percentage resulted out of monetary or money reasons. But this situation on the planet, this situation of the environment was burning inside. And when I listened to it, I was excited after I got slightly depressed from what I saw. When you realize what's happening in the world, when you connect it to us as humans and the nature of us, you can understand we're in a bit of a pickle. We have an issue. We have a challenge. It's a nice way to put it. I didn't say many challenges, and I didn't say that they are extremely tough. But we're looking at something significant for all of us to do. So I started to look again, and I started to research. I started to talk to people, and I started to look for things that are new. And what I found is that I am actually excited to give all of my skills and all of my life and time towards that mission and be part of a movement that is saying we want to change. We want to do something that when we do benefits, when we give value around us, things are happy, things are better off. In Shareitt's case, when we talk about Shareitt, there are two interesting benefits to it. One of them is, like we spoke about the environment. Any second-hand marketplace actually is benefiting the environment. Shareitt has two more interesting aspects. Because in Shareitt, you get things for points. You can actually, I can get your awesome, what is it, a Roomba for points or anything that you might want to upload there, that it allows us to reduce stress. Because we don't have money, we're not negotiating, it's all easy. But it also allows us, and that creates relationships that are awesome. But on top of it, what we really saw is that when you deal with points, you expose a long tail of items. And then when I realized what I'm seeing, because when you think about it, when you sell one car, which is not sold in Shareitt, by the way, how many books you have, how many beauty stuff you have for that one car, how many impulse buys you have in malls, online, Alibaba, God knows what, that are really stuck in your home. You see this nice plant, see that? Not likely you're going to sell that in any second-hand place. It's not going to be, but in Shareitt you can. All the stuff are actually being sold in Shareitt. So we are going into the long tail. Just to give you perspective, it's perceived. I have just read some articles. They're saying that the size of the second-hand market is 400 billion, or really shortly going to be expected to be 400 billion. But the amount of things we have at home is 4.5 trillion. So where are those things? It is tons of clothing, tons of beauty stuff, tons of books, and tons of hardware, kitchen, actually DIY stuff. What about just a wood that is sitting down next to me that I can renovate? So Shareitt is really opened itself up to expose that. And how do we do that? It's so simple that it's almost stupid. We create another wallet that is debt free. And that wallet is points. It's not connected to your gas, not connected to your rent, not connected to anything you want to do. But you can still get things with it without spending any money. And really, when we were looking at it, we actually had a very interesting conversation with a Japanese company. In Japan is the capital of points, capital of community currencies. They were really excited to see what we were doing and what we were exposing. And I would like to say that we are significantly leading the world in how we are looking, how we're managing that. Only in December 10th, this was the first time we said to the world, we're here. Please use it. Give us some feedback. Tell us how it looks like. What do you feel? So, and since then we saw some unbelievable things. The speed of how things are moving is unbelievable. To give you perspective, an active person would trade about 30 items, would exchange from, actually would just get 30 items a month on average, and would upload once a day. It's free. It's fun. Exchanging became fun. So this whole thing has kind of like put me in a place where I can do well while doing good, which combines my history of being able to work in a monetary, in a normal way, where actually you bring value, you create normal companies. We are a for-profit company. We're not a foundation. But while we do that, we're aiming to do extremely well for economy, people, planet.
I love that. If Shareitt succeeds, the planet succeeds, and I can't find, a better alignment than that. And I think that, I just love how it ties back to your own journey. and your own experiences, whether it's in swimming or in cycling or all across the board. And I think it's just pretty inspiring, especially the aspect of finding something that you're truly passionate about and you want to dedicate to, and then you're finding and you're spending meaningful time with yourself, also finding those solutions, but really being intentional about it. And I think this intentionality is what I get most inspired by in these conversations. Michael, thank you so much for coming here. I really, really appreciate it. I have a few more questions for you. Are you ready?
I am ready. I think that I'm as ready as I can be, Michael.
There you go. Okay, we'll start off easy. Your favorite subject in school, K to 12.
My favorite. Okay, please repeat the question. My favorite subject in school, and then you're cut off, please.
K to 12.
What is K to 12?
Kindergarten to 12th grade.
Oh, K to 12. Then it is. Wow, I don't know even how to say it in English. It was the word in Hebrew is melacha, but or in sports. That was the easy one. In college, I actually got connected more to the emerging technologies, which was my favorite course, and I did actually 3 of those almost. I found it fascinating.
Wow. Georgia Tech. Can't expect anything else. One of your role models, somebody that you look up to.
Wow. This is a good question. Generally, when I look for role models, there are 2 things that I'm pointing at: a balanced and an aware person. Or I feel that at the beginning of my life, I looked at Elon Musk as emerging technology, but then lately bought too many bitcoins, pollutes the world. But I am in a full understanding. It is a hard one to immediately answer, but I'm going to look for people that are conscious, that are balanced in their approach, that are not being led by emotions or by what some call their survival instincts.
I love that. I think that's one of the best answers to this question that I received. And the last one is 3 words you would choose to describe yourself.
So I think that the basics of what I've done in life was associated with being tenacious and motivated together. Those 2 are making my life extremely interesting in times. I am not a person who's willing to let go. I think that I would define myself as going all out all times. I enjoy the moments of it. It gives me satisfaction, it gives me happiness. With that being said, I'm extremely persistent. My wife, my dear wife, I've been with her for 18 years. She's the most amazing things I had in my life, and we have been together. When I go at something like Shareitt, for example, I started with a research, then we started to fundraise. It's not easy. None of the steps are easy. There is not a single day that we don't have a surprise. And persistency and being motivated to get it through the line and get it to the next step, I feel it's one of the tools that are helping me the most in this journey.
Michael, thank you so much. This was
Thank
wonderful.
you.
Thank you for coming on, and stay safe and stay healthy. And I look forward to seeing you in touch.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It'd be a pleasure.